Alright, so this is going to be a tomato review for the blush tomato. Now, I have two versions of this tomato. One's called Blush PVP, Plant Variety Protection. It's covered under that. And then I have just a regular version of the blush tomato. So, last year I grew the blush tomato regular. Last year I grew the blush tomato PVP one. And this year I am growing the blush regular tomato. And I did that on purpose because I want people to understand that there's really no difference in the two tomatoes. So I kind of wanted to make sure I covered both types. You'll see them on one website as blush tomato, and the next one's blush PVP. This tomato is not protected under the Plant Variety Protection Act. The original creator removed it from the act because of the cumbersome amount of work and policy and costs associated with trying to do a PVP identification number on it. They just decided to remove it. So this blush tomato is technically not a PVP regulated tomato, or whatever you want to call it. So just wanted to make that clear, and that is this tomato right here. All right, that's that one right there. Okay, so let's go over the plant really quick. It's just a regular leaf plant. I believe it's a Solanum lycopersicum tomato, and it's a very heavy producing tomato. It's not producing that heavy on this plant this year because my tomatoes got completely crowded in because I planted them too close. I didn't mean to do that. The pots were all together, and it was just I thought I was going to have to move them. Is the reason why I did that. So normally I would definitely tell you to spread them out a little bit with tomatoes. You definitely don't want to plant them this close, and you don't want to do that, or put them in bigger pots rather than these small pots. So, but let's pick these couple here. Now I got some on here. I just don't have a killer amount of them. I think I got one down here. Yeah, one's not ready. I'll let that one sit a little longer. And there's some in the back inside of here too. There's a few hanging in there. There's just not that many of them though. But normally this plant is a pretty heavy producer. It'll produce, 100, 200 of them in a year. So, but this is what it looks like. All right, and it's called the blush tomato because it has a beautiful blushing color on it. It's got a nice tiger striping on it. I've had years where these were more longer and skinnier, and years where they come out like what you see here. They got a nice little pendant shape on the bottom. Very nice tomato. All right, so we'll bring that up front and we'll continue to review up there. All right, so this is a tomato review for the blush tomato. Now, last year I did a review on the blush PVP tomato, which was slightly different for some reason. The effect of the tomato was grown a little bit differently, but effectively they're supposed to be the same exact tomato, except PVP stand for Plant Variety Protection Act. And that was supposedly the tomato when it had a PVP number, and it's no longer PVP. So anyway, I figured I'd do a quick review on this one again and revisit it because the tomato looks so beautiful that why not revisit it and show you guys what the blush tomato looks like. So here's the tomato. As you can see, it's just a gorgeous looking striped mini type of speckled Roman tomato, but yellow and orange on the top. This is very characteristic. Last year they had a little bit of golden sheen to them. This year they don't really have that, but it is effectively the same tomato, at least as far as I know. Now, like I told you, I bought seed from one company that was PVP, and then I bought seed from another company that was just blush tomato. So there were actually two different companies, completely different seed varieties from different sources, and yet we got almost two different types of tomatoes. So that's what they kind of look like this year. Last year they were more pink and they were skinnier and longer, and that's just the full development of the tomato. These seem to be a little bit more stocky and beautiful, pink red on the top, and just kind of fires off down into that yellow below. We're going to open one of these up right now. This is a very heavy producing tomato too, by the way. This tomato will produce quite a bit in tomatoes. Alright, so this is what it looks like on the inside. I cannot see what the screen says, so I'm taking it that you can see that. If not, you can see it from down here. Alright, that's what it looks like. And let's do our bricks. As you can see, my tomatoes don't want to stay in camera. They're shy. They should call us the shy blush tomato because they just want to run away on you. Okay, 8 on the bricks. So that's not bad. That tells me there's a little sugar in it. But then again, for cherry type tomatoes or little grape tomatoes, that bricks number needs to be a lot higher. That normally for really sweet tomatoes, 10 to 12 is really high. That's like 12 is like, I don't even think I've ever tested a tomato that was in the 12 range. But 10, 9, 10, 8 is pretty high. If you start seeing 6 and 5 with cherry tomatoes, that means they're going to be bitter and nasty. All right, so let's give this one a go. Wow, that's good. Wow, that was really good. That one had like a, wow. Fantastic on many levels. Wow. Okay, sweetness, I'm going to say probably about 30%. Has nice sweetness. Tangy was like 32. And it wasn't like an offset in flavor between the tangy on the skin and the tangy in the flesh. It was a nice even effect eating the whole thing with the flesh. Skins were a little thick and strong, but I was able to chew them up and swallow them. It wasn't like they got stuck to the roof of my mouth. And man, that tomato flavor that comes in is such a good flavored tomato this year on this. I don't know if they tasted that good last year, but this year, or maybe the blush is different from the blush from the PVP variety. I don't know. But the flavor that came out of this tomato this year, wow, those are really, really good. Very, very, very good flavor on this tomato. Very tomatoey. It's still hanging around the back of my tongue. Really like this tomato a lot. The flesh on it wasn't chalky. It was very moist, nice and wet. You know, it was a very wet experience when it came to this tomato. It was just no dryness, no creaminess, just nice, wet, almost like eating a full salad, like eating a fruit or a berry with it. It was just absolutely great experience. I really like this tomato a lot. I will be growing it more, just trying to perfect my growing technique so I could get larger harvests and, you know, get the plant to become really climatized and grow really strong and fight those diseases off is really the problem. But yes, excellent tomato. I highly recommend the blush tomato. I will offer seeds on this on my website. I do have some seeds left from last year and some seeds from this year, so I should have enough to be able to offer you if you're interested. And we will grow this next year and try to get a much larger harvest. It is a regular leaf. It is indeterminate. And it is a Solanum lycopersicum. And I'm pretty sure that this tomato was bred by Tom Wagner, I think his name is. I'm pretty sure he was the creator of the tomato. I could be wrong. I will have to double check that in the description, you know, and put it down in the description. But definitely pick seeds up for this tomato and give this one a grow. You'll really like this tomato a lot. I love the tomato. So far, since I've been eating this tomato, it's been like delicious every single time. And for you to eat a small little cherry type tomato that's not going to be overly sweet and yet tastes like a tomato still instead of a sweet berry, that's pretty unusual because usually small tomatoes like this really pack a punch when it comes to sweetness. This one's like balanced very nicely. It's it's very close to being balanced with the black cherry and being balanced with the chocolate sprinkles tomato, except this one had more of a tomatoey flavor rather than a sweet sugary flavor. That balance was very good for this tomato. Really like it a lot. Definitely give this one a go. I'll give it one more look. Beautiful tomato, guys. Beautiful. You gotta try this one. If you've never grown this, grow it. You're not gonna be disappointed with this. It's just an eye catcher. This would really get your neighbors going, your other family, you know, your kids, your wife, your relatives, your uncles come over. They want to see what you got in the garden. Show them this one. This one's very interesting. It would have caught my eye if I looked at, if I seen this in somebody's garden. So that's it. That's your tomato review for the blush tomato. Like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.